For nearly a century, the image of the Sahel sold to us by the West has been one of dust, heat, and slow-moving stagnation. We were told that our destiny was to remain static, stuck in perpetual loop of developing, but never actually arriving. They wanted us to believe that high-speed progress were a luxury reserved for the glass towers of Paris or the sprawling metros of London. But as of yesterday, that dusty mirage has been shattered once and for all. Welcome to Power and Pulse. To the truth seekers who know that the heartbeat of the continent is finally accelerating, thank you for being here. If you're joining us for the first time, lock in. You are witnessing the birth of a futuristic Africa. Yesterday, the Council of Ministers in Ouagadougou sat down and didn't just discuss policy. They declared a new reality. Prime Minister Apollinaire Joachim, acting under the iron-clad vision of Captain Ibrahim Traoré, announced that Burkina Faso is entering the age of the rail. We aren't just talking about a few roads or a fresh coat of paint on old buses. We are talking about a full-scale urban metro system that will cut through the heart of Ouagadougou and Bobo-Dioulasso. Think about the sheer audacity of that. A nation that the global elite tried to isolate. A nation under pressure from every side has looked at the world and said, whatever it costs, our people will walk into the future with dignity. This isn't just transportation. This is industrialization of our pride. This is the iron artery of revolution. In this deep dive documentary, we are going to explore why this metro is the ultimate checkmate move against neocolonialism. We're going to look at how a single railway line can elevate the standard of living for millions and why the feasibility studies everyone was mocking were actually the blueprints for a superpower. I have a question for the Pulse family. Do you believe a metro in Ouagadougou is the final proof that Traore has outplayed the West? Type progress or miracle in the comments below. Let's get the conversation started. Now, let's break down the news that set the Sahel on fire. The announcement came straight from the highest levels of the Burkina state. The Prime Minister was clear. This isn't a maybe situation. This isn't a campaign promise. This is an executive mandate. Burkina Faso will build a metro. The project is dual focus, targeting the two lungs of the nation, the political capital Ouagadougou and the economic heartbeat Bobo-Dioulasso. For too long, our cities have been choked by congestion, slowed down by outdated infrastructure that was never designed for a rising independent people. Traore is changing that, but here is the detail that the critics missed. A few days ago, when the government disbursed a massive fleet of new buses, the experts, they said, oh look, they are just buying buses because they can't afford real infrastructure. They were wrong. They were so incredibly wrong. Prime Minister Tambela revealed that the bus disbursement was actually phase 1. It was part of the strategic feasibility study. Those buses were the sensors, the data gatherers, mapping the flow of the people, identifying the pressure points in the city, and providing that demand for high-speed transit is not just there, it's overflowing. The buses were the scouts, the metro is the army. Let's talk about the whatever it costs mentality. In the old Africa, when a leader said whatever it costs, it usually meant whatever the IMF will lend us. It meant signing away our gold mines or our future labor just to get a shiny new project that would break down in 5 years. But Ibrahim Traoré doesn't speak the language of debt. He speaks the language of domestic command. When this administration says they will build a metro whatever it costs, they are talking about mobilizing internal resources. They are talking about the 3,000 billion CFA in state-owned enterprise revenue we discussed in our last episode. They are talking about the wealth that used to leak out of the country and injecting it directly into the veins of the city. So setting up a metro is not easy. It's a logistical mountain. You have to navigate urban density, you have to manage power grids, and you have to ensure long-term maintenance. Most countries start with single vanity line, a 2-mile track that goes nowhere just for the cameras. But Traore isn't interested in vanity. The plan is for an expansive network that will weave through the entirety of Ouagadougou and Bobo-Dioulasso. So we are talking about connecting the worker in the outskirts to the market in the center in minutes instead of hours. Why does a metro matter for the standard of living? If you've ever stood in the heat of Bobo-Dioulasso afternoon trying to find transport while the sun beats down and the hours tick away, you know the answer. Time is the only resource we can never get back. When a worker spends 3 hours a day commuting in a cramped van, that is 3 hours stolen from their family, 3 hours stolen from their education, 3 hours of human potential wasted in traffic. By implementing a metro, Traore is giving the Burkinabe people back their time. He is giving them back their dignity. Imagine a student in Ouagadougou who can now reach the university in 15 minutes in a climate-controlled, high-speed environment. Imagine a trader who can move goods across the city with precision and safety. This is how you build a middle class. You don't do it with aid packages, you do it with structural autonomy. The standard of living in Burkina Faso is about to take a quantum leap. When transportation becomes seamless, the economy becomes frictionless. So this metro will do more for poverty reduction than 40 years of Western NGO workshops ever did. A metro represents performance. It represents a government that is planning for the next 50 years, not the next 5 months. It represents a state that has the technical and financial capacity to execute the most complex engineering projects on earth. So, if Burkina Faso can build a metro while under sanctions, while fighting a proxy war, and while rejecting the French treasury, then the imperial lie is officially dead. The lie was that we needed them to be modern. Traore is proving that we only needed them to get out of the way. This project is a beacon for the entire AES. It tells Mali, it tells Niger, it tells the whole of ECOWAS, the ceiling you thought was above you is actually just a floor. We can go higher. Traore's genius is his parallel strategy. He is fighting the war on the borders with one hand and he is building the metro in the capital with the other. He understands that you win a war not just by killing the enemy, but by proving that the enemy cannot stop your progress. A metro is a military statement. It says our state is stable, our cities are growing, our future secure. It is the ultimate psychological victory over the forces of destabilization. How will this happen? The feasibility studies are done. The bus disbursement proved transit routes. Now comes the mobilization of the African genius. Traore has called for the involvement of domestic engineers and regional partners who respect Burkinabe's strategic freedom. We aren't looking for masters to build this for us. We are looking for partners to build it with us. The expansion into the entire Ouagadougou and Bobo-Dioulasso regions means that it will be one of the most ambitious urban rail projects in Western African history. We are talking about integrated stations, solar-powered hubs, and a system that reflects the aesthetic and the needs of the Burkinabe people. This isn't just about moving bodies, it's about moving the spirit of a nation. When a Burkinabe child looks at high-speed train gliding through their city, they no longer feel like a second-class citizen of the world. They feel like the owner of the future. We have to see this for what it is. This is the reclamation of the modern. For too long, modernity was something that was done to Africa, not by Africa. We're given the scripts of the West's technology. We're given their old cars, their old machines, their old ideas. Ibrahim Traoré is saying no more. We want the best. We want the fastest. We want the most efficient. And we will build it on our own terms, using our own wealth. The disbursement of those buses a few days ago wasn't a minor event. It was the soft launch of a transportation empire. Every Burkinabe who stepped onto One of those buses was a data point in the creation of the metro. They were the pioneers of the new Sahel. We are witnessing a high-speed destiny. While the rest of the world is debating whether or not Africa is ready for industrialization, Burkina Faso has already bought the ticket and is standing on the platform. The metro is coming. The standard of living is rising. The congestion of the past is being cleared away to make room for the velocity of the future. Ouagadougou and Bobo-Dioulasso are no longer just cities. They are laboratories of a new African excellence. They are the proof that when you have a leader who fears no one but the people he serves, even the most impossible dreams becomes projected for 2026. The whistle has blown. The train of African self-governance is leaving the station, and it is moving too fast for the old empires to catch. So Burkina Faso has decided that it will no longer wait for a grant or a loan to be modern. It has decided that the comfort of its citizens is worth whatever price must be paid. Captain Ibrahim Traoré has shown us that the only limit on our progress was the lack of a leader who dared to envision it. The 3,000 billion CFA in revenue, the $147 million strategic health calculations, the arrest of foreign operatives, it all leads to this. It leads to a nation that is building its own arteries, its own heart, and its own path. If you are ready to see the first metro line open in truly liberated Sahel, then I need you to do your part for the movement right now. Smash that like button. Let the world know that we celebrate African infrastructure and not just African struggle. Comment full speed below. Let's fill the section with the energy of a continent in motion. Subscribe to Power and Pulse. We are the only platform tracking the rise of the Sahel with the depth it deserves. And also share this video, send it to every skeptic who thinks Africa can't build its own future. Show them the blueprint of the Burkinabe metro. The tracks are being laid, the stations are being planned, and the pulse of Africa is beating faster than ever before. I'm your host Marie, and this is Power and Pulse. Until next time.